A very good afternoon to all of you. Let me introduce myself. I'm Professor Dr. Saju K. James, Director MBA of IIMT Business School, Greater Noida. Yesterday, we discussed on the various changes, the importance of changes, and up to a certain extent, we covered the organizational change too. So today, we will discuss in detail the organizational change. The levels of organizational change. Whenever somebody is initiating the change activities, first of all, that will affect an individual. The behavior of a person will be different as a result of new information, the training that we are giving, the experience that we shared, and the rearrangement of an organization structure. Because initially it is affecting an individual. Then the group change. We can take several forms, including the new leadership, increase or diminished cohesiveness, the transition into a team, because we are changing the team. We are adding a lot of inputs to do some changes in that team. That is a group change. Then the structural change, the deliberate rearrangement of positions, departments, or other major units of organization. So it means there will be an individual change, group change, and structural change. Even the changes also that we can divide into the two categories, the first order changes and the second order changes. The first order changes involve adjustment in the system. It means the fine tuning, the processes or restructuring, but it does not involve fundamental change in strategy, core values, or corporate identity. That's why it is called first order changes. And these first order changes can be happen in such a way, the change as the taking of individual initiatives. An individual can take an initiative to introduce some changes in their department or in their own performance. That means the people able to identify relevant, innovative organizational changes whenever there is a requirement. And such people are able to be easily identified by other staff in their organization, not seen by managers, as high potential individuals in terms of progression through the company. I think it is happening in many of the organizations and institutions. There are a lot of contributions from the individuals. Then the change as the development of local routine works. Even during the local routine works also, there are chances that they're forced to introduce some changes in their work. Organizational routines can be the source of change. It is enacted by different people who place their own interpretations, actions, and how the routine should occur. It is an initiative of the team members. And through the routine work, day by day, they are doing some changes, and that will become an organizational change in a later stage. And these two internal dynamics drive routines towards continuous change. That means, first one, the past outcomes fall short of what was intended. It means there are chances that there are some change initiatives earlier, but that initiatives were not fulfilled. The past outcomes fall short of what was intended, and it will create a kind of urgency amongst the team members to do some changes. Then the second one, it is just opposite, we can say, achievement of outcomes open up new possibilities. Because they are already experienced and they achieved in the change. So they will think about the further possibility. They can think about adding something new as a change. Then the second order changes. Second order changes means the complete transformation of an organization. It is called transformational changes. And these transformational changes will occur after the basic nature of the organization. Transformation designed to fundamentally alter the basic nature of the organization. It is after the first order changes, the type 1 transformation. It is very much important. An organization moves from an entrepreneurial to a professional management structure. Till date, an organization, even though there are chances that many of the limited companies do, it will work like an entrepreneurial organization. Even though it is calling us a limited company, it will be under the control of a single person. They will never involve the professionals to contribute. But if there is a transformation process happened, then definitely there will be a change from the entrepreneurial work to the professional management structure. So they will give more importance to the professionals. There will be a lot of the delegation of work. There will be a lot of heads of the department with a lot of authority and responsibility. Earlier, it was totally up to an individual. Now, the team of professionals will take the decision. That is a type 1 transformation. And the type 2 transformation, it is revitalization of already established companies. It is restructuring. They are doing some modification in the already established organization. The organization will remain same in the same market, but focus on how to rebuild itself in order to operate more effectively and efficiently. And what are the changes required that they will try to incorporate? That is type 2 transformation. Initially, it was an entrepreneurial one. Then it is a professional management one. And with the support of the professional support, as a professional team, they will think about restructuring, the revitalization of the already established companies. That is a type 2 transformation. Then the type 3 transformation. In type 3 transformation, there will be visionary change in which the organization will fundamentally change the business in which it is involved. There are chances that the organization will think about changing their business. That is based on the requirement from the market or due to the need of the time. The vision will change. The market will change. The operation will change. That is the complete transformation. There are chances that many of the people will support the change. But up to a certain extent, there will be a lot of objection. But if you are looking into the case of the support for change, why the people supporting the change? Definitely, if there is a job security, they will support the change. They'll be more happy. And if they are getting more money, yes, definitely they will support the change. If they are getting more authority, yes, no doubt about it, they will support the change. Status, prestige, yes. These are the positive things. Definitely, the organization will complete support from the people. More responsibility, better working conditions, self-satisfaction, better personal contacts, less time and effort, definitely. These are very much important for an individual to perform. And if the organization is giving an opportunity, then definitely they will support the initiative of change in that particular organization. But 70% of the case, definitely there will be a resistance to change. And there are certain signs. When you say change, the people will say, yeah, it's a waste of time. Why they are looking for a change? It's not at all required. It is a waste of time. Then why change? If it was working just fine before, it was fine working before, then why you are looking for a change at this stage? We are not in favor of change. Then they never tell us what is going on. We are not getting correct information from the higher authority. How soon will this happen? It is not going to happen soon. So there is no need of any change. Then how will this impact me? Is it going to affect me? How? How it is affecting? They need complete answer from the higher authority. Then will I receive new training in the change scenario? What is in it for me? Is there any benefit for me? What is in it for me? I doubt they are really serious about this. These are the questions that may arise from the people while the higher authority is taking an initiative to introduce the changes. Where do people resist change? It's a question. First, the dislike. They don't like the changes at all. They don't want. Then the discomfort with uncertainty. So what is the guarantee? There are certain uncertainties. They don't know what is going to happen. And of course, they will not become comfortable. So there is discomfort with uncertainty. And if there is a negative effect on interest, there are chances that somebody is working with an organization for a long time. Certain interest will be there. And if there is a change, there will be a negative effect on their own interest. And definitely there will be an attachment to the established organizational culture and identity. They are working with that particular organization in that particular culture and identity. They don't want to change. The lack of conviction. They are not convinced sufficient. The lack of conviction that a change is needed. Then the lack of clarity as to what is expected. There is no clarity. So they don't want to accept the changes. Then there are certain questions in such a way, the specific change being proposed is inappropriate. It is an inappropriate changes that somebody is proposing. Then, excessive change. A lot of changes are introducing, so we are not going to support. The resistance to change is tridimensional. The first one, it is affective resistance. It is how a person feels about a change. The immediate reaction, angry. No, I don't want any change. It is an affective. Then the cognitive one. It is how a person thinks about a change. It's a crazy idea. They don't know how to introduce something in a better way. It is so crazy. Why should I support? Then the behavior. The behavior of the individual will change. Is what a person does in the face of a change. And the behavioral response may take many forms. It's mainly active and passive response. The active response. The symptoms of active resistance are identified as being critical. They will criticize everything. Then they will try to find the fault in the changes initiative that someone has or the higher authority has taken initiative. Then they will blame. They will try to accuse. These are the active response. Then passive response. They will agreeing verbally, but they will not follow it. Agreeing verbally, but not following through, failing to implement the change. In front of everyone, they would say, yes, we are in favor of change, but they will not do anything. They will not do anything to do the changes in that organization. That is a passive response. But I believe the active response is much better than passive response. Active response, okay, they are telling it's not possible. Then we can give a kind of training to them or to convince them. But if it is a passive response, it is very difficult because they are telling yes, but they will not do anything. It is a resistance cycle. Let nature take its own course. It's a resistance cycle. The 4 phases in the resistance cycle. The denial. The denial that involves a refusal to recognize the situation being faced. Refusal. Then the resistance. It begins with the recognition that the situation is not going to go away. The past is mourned, stress level rise, and both passive and active forms of resistance emerge. The passive and active forms of it will emerge in the second stage. The exploration. It involves re-energizing and preparedness to explore the possibilities involved in the new situation. It means even though there are resistance from the people, after some time, they will try to cooperate with the organization. That involves re-energizing and preparedness to explore the possibilities involved in the new situation. The commitment. It is a fourth stage where attention is focused on the new course of action. There will be proper attention from each and every employee, and they will think about a change. The change is important, and they will fall in line. They will work as a team for the change proposed by the senior management. How to manage resistance? There are chances that we already discussed. There will be passive, active, resistance will be there. There's a situational approach. We can educate the employees, the people, education, and further communication, better communication with the team members. So participation and involvement. Let them participate in the change process and involve them. The facilitation and support. Support the team members. Then the negotiation and agreement. These are the most important things. We need to educate them, we need to train them, we need to involve them into each and everything. Active participation, the facilitation and support, negotiation, agreement. These are the ways to manage the resistance from the people. An effective change. It means once someone convinced, and if they are ready for the change, it means altering the mindset. Their mindset changed. Harnessing motivation. We need to focus on motivating the team members. Then finally, it is shaping their behavior. After the change process, we can see a new person with a new behavior. It means first altering the mindset, harnessing the motivation, then shaping the behavior. So now let us discuss on the change management. How to introduce the changes in an organization with the support of the people. That is the most important thing. We can introduce the systems and procedures, or we can buy a lot of machineries or equipments or whatever it is. It is very much possible. But if you are not getting the support from the team members, the people, then it will be very difficult to introduce whatever we are proposing in an organization. It means a change management means a structured approach that helps manage the people components during a business transformation initiative to realize the desired outcomes. The effective management of the people dimension of change requires managing 5 key phases. ADKR. A stands for awareness. D stands for desire. K stands for knowledge. A stands for ability. And R stands for reinforcement. First of all, the awareness of the need for change. The employee, they should have the proper awareness on the need for change. Yes, the change is very much important. There is a need. If you are not changing, then it is difficult to survive in this market. Then the desire to make the change happen. There will be a decision, the firm decision, the desire to make the change happen. Maybe after proper training and education, the desire. Yes, even they will understand the importance of change. Then the knowledge about how to change. They should know what exactly that they need to do during the change process, the proper knowledge. Maybe the technical support they need better training for the reorientation. These are very much important. The knowledge about how to change. Then the ability to implement new skills and behaviors. They need to develop certain ability. Even though if there is an awareness or desire or knowledge, if they are not able to perform, then what is the use? Then how do you implement the change? That means ability to implement new skills and behaviors. It is very much important. Then the reinforcement to retain the change once it happens. That's a fifth phase of the effective change management. We have to make it sure that once it is implemented, it will retain forever. That's very much important. While we are thinking about a next change, till that time, whatever they introduce, that must continue with the support of the people in that organization. The different change, the stages of change management. As we discussed, the most important, coming to grips with the problem. If there is a problem, then only they will think about a change, how to overcome with that problem. The changes initiatives are due to the issues, due to the problem. And working through the change, we are implementing the change, attaining and sustaining improvement. Once we identify the problem, then we are working through the changes, then attaining that change and sustaining. The principles of change management. A good change management practice should emphasize on 4 principles. The first one is urgency. Inform employees on a continuous basis of its plans for the future, the competitive market pressure it faces, customer requirements, and the performance of its key competitors. It means the employer will inform the employees in detail. Yes, we need to change. There's a competition in the market. The customers are requiring better quality, better products, and they will compare with the performance of their key competitors. It is an urgency. The management will create an urgency. Yes, we need to change immediately. There is no meaning in delaying it further. It is a time to change. The vision. The creation of a vision should be a continuous process whereby options are identified, an initial vision is created, and the gap between this and the present circumstances is identified. They need to look into a new vision. New vision in the change structure or the change management. There will be a new vision. The empowerment. The employees should be provided with the skills and knowledge so that they are able to act correctly. A proper empowerment is there. They should be in a position to do something better for the organization only if they are getting proper skills and knowledge to do something. The execution. It involves alignment of systems and structure around the customers. Urgency, vision, empowerment, and then execution. Then the elements of change management practices. The change management practice comprised 3 interlinked elements. The first one is objectives and outcomes. There is a difference between objectives and outcome. Objectives, okay, it's up to a certain extent, we can say, okay, it's a plan. But outcome means it is measurable. There will be a definite result. The objectives, then the outcomes. Outcome is the most important than the objectives. For a change to be successful, its original objectives should be properly throughout and thought out and consistent. It encompasses 4 factors. The trigger. There'll be a trigger. Then the remit. Then an assessment team to make it sure that the change is happening. And if there is an assessment team, then there'll be an assessment too. Proper assessment of the changes. Whether it was in a positive way or in a negative way, or do we need to change further in between? That assessment team will take it. Then planning the change. There should be a proper planning for each and everything. The following 6 interrelated activities were considered during planning and change process. In a properly planned team, there will be a change management team, establishment of a change management team, the management structure, the activity planning. There should be a proper planning on the activity, what they are going to do, the change management team. Commitment planning. Each and every team members should have certain commitment. Properly planned commitment. Then the audits and post audits. Training and development. These are all part of the planning the change. Many of the organizations may take an initiative to do some change without proper planning, and they will fail. The people, the most important thing that we discussed. Creating a willingness to change, then involving people and sustaining the momentum. The willingness of the people is the most important thing that we discussed earlier too. If they are not ready to support the change, then it is very difficult for an organization to implement that change. The proper involvement of the people. We need to train them and make it sure that, okay, they will become an asset to the organization once it trained well. Then it is the responsibility of the management to make it sure that sustaining the momentum that initiated at the time of the beginning of the change activity. So we will discuss in detail on the different model of changes in tomorrow's session. So thank you all for joining me.